A frozen frontier, locating the Arctic. The Arctic is one of the most remote and least explored regions on our planet, a place where the natural world remains largely untouched by human activity. The Arctic is a vast, icy region located at the northernmost part of Earth. It is a place of stark beauty and harsh conditions where temperatures can plummet to extreme lows. It encompasses the Arctic Ocean and surrounding landmasses, creating a unique and fragile ecosystem that supports a variety of wildlife including polar bears, seals, and migratory birds. These landmasses include parts of Canada, Russia, Greenland, Norway, and the United States, specifically Alaska. Each of these regions contributes to the diverse and complex environment of the Arctic. The Arctic Circle, a line of latitude at approximately 66.5 degrees north, marks the southern boundary of this region. This imaginary line helps to define the area where the Arctic's unique climatic conditions prevail. Unlike the South Pole, which sits atop a continental landmass, the North Pole lies in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. This makes the North Pole a constantly shifting point, as the ice drifts with ocean currents. This ocean is covered by a thick, floating ice cap that expands and contracts with the seasons. During the winter, the ice can extend for miles, while in the summer it retreats, revealing open water. The Arctic region is characterized by its extreme cold, long periods of darkness in winter, and short summers with perpetual daylight. This phenomenon, known as the midnight sun, creates a unique environment where the sun never sets for several weeks. The Arctic Ocean, a sea of ice. The Arctic Ocean is Earth's northernmost body of water. It is the smallest and shallowest of the world's 5 major oceans. The Arctic Ocean is largely covered by sea ice for most of the year. This ice, however, is not a solid, unbroken sheet. Instead, it is a dynamic mosaic of ice flows of varying sizes and thicknesses. These flows constantly shift and drift in response to winds and ocean currents. This movement creates leads or cracks in the ice which can freeze over and break up again. The thickness of the ice varies, with thicker multi-year ice persisting in some areas and thinner first-year ice forming each winter. Arctic landscapes. Beyond the frozen ocean. The lands surrounding the Arctic Ocean exhibit a variety of landscapes shaped by ice, wind, and permafrost. Permafrost is a permanently frozen layer of soil that underlies much of the Arctic. This frozen ground supports a unique ecosystem and influences the region's hydrology. Tundra, a treeless plain characterized by low-growing vegetation, dominates many Arctic landscapes. Other landforms include mountains, glaciers, and coastal plains. The Brooks Range in Alaska, for example, boasts stunning peaks and valleys carved by glacial activity. Fjords, deep inlets carved by glaciers, characterize the coastlines of Greenland and Norway, adding to the region's dramatic beauty. Life on the ice. Arctic animals and their adaptations. Despite the harsh conditions, the Arctic teems with life both on land and in the sea. Arctic animals have evolved remarkable adaptations to survive the extreme cold, prolonged darkness, and scarcity of food. The iconic polar bear, with its thick fur and blubber layer, is perhaps the most recognizable symbol of Arctic wildlife. Other marine mammals, including walruses, seals, and whales, rely on the rich waters of the Arctic Ocean. On land, caribou, reindeer, musk oxen, and Arctic foxes roam the tundra, their thick coats providing insulation against the frigid temperatures. Section 5. Guardians of the Arctic, polar bears and their plight. Polar bears are often seen as the iconic symbol of the Arctic, embodying the wild and untamed nature of this frozen world. Polar bears are apex predators, relying on sea ice as a platform to hunt seals, their primary prey. They are incredibly skilled hunters, using the ice to their advantage to catch seals that come up for air. However, as climate change warms the Arctic at an alarming rate, sea ice is shrinking and thinning, threatening the survival of these magnificent creatures. The loss of sea ice not only affects their hunting grounds but also their ability to travel and find mates. With less ice available, polar bears are forced to spend more time on land, where they face food shortages and increased competition. On land, they often have to scavenge for food, which is less nutritious and harder to find. This situation has led to a decline in polar bear populations in some areas, underscoring the profound impact of climate change on Arctic ecosystems. The sight of a malnourished polar bear is a stark reminder of the challenges they face. Conservation efforts are crucial to protect polar bears and their habitat in the face of these growing challenges. Scientists and conservationists are working tirelessly to monitor polar bear populations and implement strategies to mitigate the effects of climate change. Protecting these majestic creatures requires global cooperation and a commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Section 6. The Arctic Council. Cooperation in a fragile region. The Arctic is not only a region of ecological significance but also a geopolitical hotspot. As the ice melts, new shipping routes are opening up, and access to natural resources is becoming easier. This has led to increased interest in the Arctic from countries both within and outside the region. To address these issues and promote cooperation, the Arctic Council was established in 1996. This intergovernmental forum brings together the 8 Arctic states, Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, and the United States, along with representatives of indigenous peoples. Section 7. The race for resources, mineral rights, and international disputes. The Arctic is believed to hold vast reserves of oil, natural gas, minerals, and other resources. As the ice retreats, these resources are becoming more accessible, leading to increased international interest and competition. Countries are asserting their claims to the Arctic seabed, seeking to expand their exclusive economic zones and secure rights to potential resources. These overlapping claims and competing interests have the potential to create tensions and disputes. International cooperation and adherence to international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, are crucial to managing these resources responsibly and peacefully. Section 8. Climate change in the Arctic. A warning sign for the planet. The Arctic is warming at a rate faster than any other region on Earth. This rapid warming is a clear indicator of the broader impacts of climate change. This phenomenon, known as Arctic amplification, is due to a number of factors, including the melting of ice and snow, changes in cloud cover, and the absorption of sunlight by the ocean. The loss of reflective ice surfaces means more sunlight is absorbed by the darker ocean waters, which in turn accelerates the warming process. The absorption of sunlight by the ocean is a critical factor in this process. As the ice melts, the exposed ocean water absorbs more heat, creating a feedback loop that leads to even more ice melting. The consequences of this rapid warming are far-reaching, impacting not only the Arctic but also the global climate system. The changes in the Arctic can influence weather patterns and contribute to extreme weather events around the world. As sea ice melts, it exposes darker ocean water which absorbs more heat, further accelerating warming. This process is a significant driver of the changes we are witnessing in the Arctic. This melting ice also contributes to rising sea levels, posing a threat to coastal communities worldwide. The rising sea levels can lead to increased coastal erosion, flooding, and other impacts that threaten human settlements and natural ecosystems. The thawing of permafrost releases methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere, further exacerbating climate change. This release of methane is a significant concern because it can accelerate the warming process even more, creating a dangerous cycle of warming and greenhouse gas release. Section 9. The future of the Arctic. Challenges and opportunities. The Arctic is at a crossroads, facing both unprecedented challenges and opportunities. Climate change is transforming the region at an alarming rate, threatening its fragile ecosystems and the livelihoods of its inhabitants. The melting ice is opening up new shipping routes and access to natural resources, leading to increased economic activity and geopolitical interest. Balancing economic development with environmental protection will be crucial for the future of the Arctic. Sustainable practices, renewable energy sources, and international cooperation will be essential to ensuring a healthy and prosperous future for the region and its people. Section 10. Preserving the Arctic. A shared responsibility. The fate of the Arctic is not just a regional issue but a global concern. The changes happening in the Arctic have implications for the entire planet, from rising sea levels to altered weather patterns. Protecting the Arctic requires a collective effort from governments, industries, and individuals worldwide. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions, investing in renewable energy, and promoting sustainable practices are all essential steps in mitigating climate change and preserving the Arctic for future generations. International cooperation, scientific research, and respect for indigenous knowledge are also vital to understanding and addressing the complex challenges facing the region. Section 11. Conclusion. The Arctic's enduring allure. The Arctic, with its icy landscapes, unique wildlife, and growing geopolitical significance, continues to captivate our imagination. It is a region of extremes where beauty and harshness coexist, and where the interconnectedness of our planet is starkly apparent. As we face the challenges of climate change and the opportunities of a changing Arctic, it is imperative that we act with wisdom, foresight, and a shared commitment to preserving this extraordinary region for generations to come. The future of the Arctic is ultimately intertwined with our own, and its fate will be shaped by the choices we make today.